Logistics is their biggest problem. They cannot manage moving forward at a rapid pace and keeping the fuel going too. And that's what happened to them. We are now in a war which does not in any way involve China. In fact, the Chinese abstained when the UN voted on condemning Russia. Now, that's a big deal because your allies are forever, like a marriage. You don't abstain. You go vote right. They didn't. This was your basic screw you to Russia, if there needed to be one. So now Russia is sitting there. What do you do in this situation? You declare that you're insane because ever you get into a bar fight, pretend to be insane. And he's been in bar fights, and he is. I'm going to nuke you. I'm going to use dirty nukes on you. I'm going to nuke your mother. I'm everybody that I can nuke. He's not an idiot. He knows that he's going to turn into radioactive dust personally if he does this. He knows that's not an option. Why does he do it? Here's where we get perspective. We have to stay calm. You have to say, he's doing it because his back's against the wall and he's got to do something. Be calm, which is not what we're good at, but this is what's going on there. Russia had a major intelligence failure, inappropriate weapons, and didn't send enough force. His final problem is that he's had to dragoon, I won't call, not subscription, dragoon an army. He's out of an army. The one problem that he has is training an army. It's one thing having them in your camp. How do you train the infantrymen? I think it would take about 6 months before somebody goes through AIT. The Russians are going to send completely untrained troops into combat. Well, no, they're not, but they've done this because they had to. The basic weakness of the Russian army is a lack of sergeants. What I mean by this is the Chinese have sergeants. The British, God knows, have sergeants. Scary. The Americans train. We have trainers. We have experienced forces who have been in combat, hopefully. But even if they haven't, they understand the basic principles of tactical warfare. And for 3 months, it's pounded into their heads till they never want to think of that day again. The Russians do not have sergeants. They have lieutenants who have been in 6 months, who are assigned to train people who have been there no months. This is why the Russian army performs badly. It has never had a coherent training program. Why? Because in World War II, they didn't have the time for it. And because they didn't have the time for it, they sent them in to die. And I was not kidding. The best they could do to hold the Russians, to hold the Germans, I should say, was hit them again, and take the casualties. But this is a nuanced war, a complex war, choreographed by the Americans. I won't say that the Pentagon has a lot to do with the planning, but what the hell. This is planned for it. It's with a force that's highly motivated, totally committed, and knows that it has the United States at its back and the British at its back. Even the Germans at its back, but you don't trust. Okay, so this is the problem of the German. It's not clear how the Russians can win. Russia has to have a peace treaty because its option is nuclear war or a peace settlement. It cannot win. Its forces are not in a position to win. They can take them in, they can spend all winter training them, and that may have some effect, but basically they have an untrained force fighting a highly motivated force backed up by the superb technologies that are available today.